Understanding the new NIL regulations in college sports. In a significant move that could reshape the future of college athletics, the newly established agency responsible for overseeing name, image, and likeness (NIL) agreements has issued a letter to educational institutions, clarifying its stance on what constitutes a valid business purpose for these deals. This communication, sent out on Thursday, indicates that the agency has rejected numerous agreements between student-athletes and donor-supported collectives that have emerged in recent years to channel funds to players or their respective schools. The memo explicitly states that these arrangements lack a legitimate business rationale, as they do not comply with regulations stipulating that external NIL agreements must involve athletes and companies that offer goods or services to the public for profit. This clarification could signal a pivotal shift in the operation of collectives, which have been closely tied to educational institutions, and were initially seen as a means for schools to indirectly negotiate with players following the NIL policy changes that took effect in July 2021. The landscape of college sports has evolved dramatically since then, particularly with the recent $2.8 billion settlement that permits schools to compensate players directly starting July 1. As a result, several collectives associated with prominent universities such as Colorado, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Georgia have already announced their closure. Meanwhile, institutions like Georgia, Ohio State, and Illinois are collaborating with Learfield, a well-established media and technology firm with extensive experience in college athletics, to facilitate NIL agreements. While external deals between athletes and sponsors remain permissible, any agreements valued at $600 or more must undergo scrutiny by a newly created clearinghouse known as NIL Go, which was launched by the College Sports Commission. In its correspondence to athletic directors, the Commission noted that since the inception of NIL Go on June 11, over 1,500 deals have been approved, with values ranging from 3 to 7 figures. Additionally, more than 12,000 athletes and 1,100 institutional users have registered to utilize this system. However, the majority of the letter focused on the reasons many agreements could not be approved, primarily due to their failure to meet the NCAA's criteria for a valid business purpose. For instance, if a collective arranges for an athlete to participate in an event that charges an admission fee, this would not satisfy the standard, as the event's primary goal is to generate funds to compensate athletes rather than to provide goods or services to the public for profit. Similarly, if an athlete enters into a deal to sell merchandise with the intent of raising money for their own compensation, this too would not qualify as a valid business purpose, as the primary aim is to fund the athlete and potentially others at the same institution, which contradicts NCAA regulations. Conversely, a deal could receive approval if the businesses involved have a broader objective beyond merely functioning as a collective. The letter cites examples such as a golf course or an apparel company. In essence, NIL collectives can operate as marketing agencies that connect student-athletes with businesses that possess a legitimate business purpose and wish to leverage the athletes' NIL to promote their offerings, the letter elaborated. This development raises important questions about the future of NIL deals in college sports. Will this new interpretation of valid business purposes lead to a more equitable playing field for all athletes? Or will it stifle the opportunities that NIL agreements were meant to provide? We invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below.